Hi, I'm Eileen Zieger. I'm a licensed acupuncturist, and I've been teaching the Acupressure self-help workshop at weSPARK for a number of years. Basically, acupressure is just another form of acupuncture without using the needles. So the nice part about it is you've got your hands and it's very forgiving. As long as you cover the area that we're talking about, you will get the effect that is desired. Now, how does acupressure work? Well, it's believed that the body is covered with a series of meridians, 12 different meridians, and these meridians traverse, connecting to each other ultimately and covering a great deal of the body bilaterally. Some of them work down the center of the body, but most of them are bilateral. So the nice part about it is if you have pain on one side, you can go to the points on the other side and they'll be just as effective. What is it actually doing? It's a belief system that the chi, or the energy, has to be moving and flowing regularly in a sort of cyclical fashion. And when that flow starts to slow down or stop or become stagnant, that we get symptoms, and the symptoms manifest as pain. They can manifest as deficiencies, and so what I'm going to try to show you is how to access these points so that you can get that flow of energy moving through your body in an effective fashion. We're going to start with some techniques that are used for stress reduction and calming, which seems to be something that most of my workshop attendees really love to hear about. So the first one that I would show you, if Natalie, you take your hand and you put it on the top of your head, what you're going to do is you're going to be straight up from the apex of the ears. You're going to use the pads of your fingers and just very lightly set them on top like this. And because acupressure is so much easier to work with than acupuncture, the surface area of your hand is large enough that you usually will be hitting that point without any problem. Now you can take your other hand and you can place it right here at the area of the third eye. You may want to drop it down just a little bit lower and just, again, have those little pads of the fingers just lightly set on there, and then just relax and breathe. Now, this is a nice technique to do when you're laying down so that you don't feel the weight of your arms, being too much, if you're a little weakened state. And then the next position that I would do was I would bring your arms down, and then there's these areas, and I'm going to walk behind Natalie and show you. These areas right where the skull and the muscles attach. If you lay your hands right in here, that can really help also, just right in there. And this can help with headaches as well, especially if you work and you go all the way around the ear, just very lightly. And the headaches can also be alleviated with the point that's right in here and right in here. Now, the other calming points that are really good are right in this area where the thumb and the first finger meet. So you could take your hand, and then you could take your other hand and actually slide it in like this, like a puzzle. It doesn't matter which hand. So this area of the hand is now pressing on here. This area of the hand is pressing on here. And these can also be very relaxing points. And you can just lay them in your lap and relax. Take a deep breath and feel that point that's right in this sort of fleshy area between the great toe and the second toe. And we just push in on that area. And you can simply do that if you're sitting in a chair and you're flat on the floor by just laying the heel of your foot right in that area. Now, it's really great to be able to do these sitting on a table cross-legged. Can you sit cross-legged for me? Okay, that's good. And you can take your hand You can put it on that area that I just talked about and do it on this one too. And just lay it right in there and relax. And just breathe. So those are significant calming techniques that we use on a regular basis. So the points that are very important for digestive disturbances and for nausea are basically can be found on the hand, and they can also be found in the abdominal area. So I'll show you on the hand first off. It's very common that many people know about seasick bands, and the seasick bands are always, you're always instructed to put the little bead like 2 fingers above the wrist crease. That is because they're using a Chinese point that we use. So basically, take your finger and put 2 fingers above the wrist crease, and right about there, you're going to lay your hand right down the center, right in there. Okay? You can also do it where your hand is just coming around from the side, like this, and just set these right in the middle and press those down just gently. Okay. Now, there's also points that are very strong for nausea that are on the abdomen, as I mentioned, and they're going to set primarily in this area where the rib cage lies. So you're going to come up and you're going to feel what's called the xiphoid process, which is a little bone that sort of sticks out, and you're going to feel the sides of your ribs, and you're going to work these areas like this. And you're going to bring that energy back down, because essentially what's causing the nausea is the Chinese energy is moving up when it's supposed to be coming down. So you're going to be working these areas very gently around the rib cage. This is a good thing to do when you're lying down. Do you want to lie down and I'll show you? Okay. So when you're lying down, the rib cage, everything descends, so it's easier to find all the geography. There's a sort of a figure 8 hourglass pattern that we can do a little bit easier when you have a partner or a caregiver that can do this for you. If it's just yourself and you're doing it on, your own body, then what you want to do is come in on the breastbone, let your hands sink down, allow them to find the edge of the ribs, and sink in a little bit below it without being too pokey, and just drop it down, and then get a sort of a movement going where you're bringing, again, that energy down and away from the chest where so much of the nausea seems to be happening. Another thing that I really like to do is see if you can do it first. Let's see if you can do it. Okay. So you're going to want to set in there, set your hands in on your chest, on the breastbone, and now slowly bring it down. Follow, sink in, feel the edge of the rib cage, and then just come down in there. Yeah, that's good. And just, come up with a gentle way to do that on yourself. And sometimes it's even just being like a cat that does their little patterns of taking their paws and coming up and back. Sometimes it's just that. Just to try to get that movement going, to get that nausea to come down out of that chest area. So now, the other thing that I really recommend for digestive problems that are basically a lot of, again, drug-induced symptoms that can cause constipation, can cause diarrhea, is understanding something about the flow of the colon. So if you would like to sit up, I'll show this in a better way. And then essentially, the way that the digestive system works is the ascending colon comes up on this side, the transverse colon comes across, the descending colon comes down and it goes into the sigmoid colon and out. So the way our digestive system works is like a clock, and it goes clockwise when it's working effectively. So you are the clock, and so if I'm going to be working on you, I'm going to want to work with the belly button as sort of the pole star, as the center, and I'm going to work around you in this manner. So now if you'd like to lay down again, I'll show you. Basically, what you want to do is try to do this when you're lying down, because it's going to be a lot more comfortable and a lot less strain on your body. So if constipation is your issue, you want to work with that colon and that system going clockwise. And you want to use, again, the belly button as the center, and you want to come around. And now you're going to do that for me, and you're going to just start in the abdominal area, and you're just going to go around. You can put this hand down and just go around and around. Or you can take the second hand, put it on this hand, and do them together in that pattern. Now, obviously, if this is the direction that we're going to be using for constipation, if diarrhea is an issue, you're going to want to go the opposite direction. You're going to want to go counterclockwise. And you're going to want to work it this way. And you may even want to come in lower, since we are three-dimensional and not flat images. The digestive organs are in these deeper areas, not just on the top flat area of the stomach. So you're going to want to go around for constipation, maybe come down into here, maybe go in through there. Again, this is something you can do on yourself, but is also something that's really good to do with a partner that can do it on you. So stay within that area, using the ribs as a boundary. You don't want to go up onto the bone. You want to stay on the soft fascia and just go around. You can drop in, you can put a little bit of pressure on it. And usually once you start working this, you may start to hear gurgling and bowel sounds. And that's a good sign. So those are the best things that you can do right off on a simple way, in a simple way for digestive issues. Now I'm going to show you some protocols for working on affecting some of the major meridians in the legs that govern immunity and blood building and digestion all at the same time. So I'm going to show you on Natalie's leg right here in the back, and in the sides we have what we call the epicondyle, which is the top of this bone. And this bone, the tibia, or the shin bone as most people know it, basically runs all the way down into the ankle. And most of our major meridians in Chinese medicine run on the sides of this bone. And we call them the heavy hitters. So this area in here often is very sore. I don't know, is that sore on you?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's tender. So on women, this can be menstrual issues that happen in here. This can be edema issues that happen in here. And this can be, again, it's governing some of the digestive system, which builds blood in our medicine. So basically when you're working your fingers, which I'm doing in a C pattern, and that C pattern, the thumb is on the lateral side and the fingers are on the medial side, and I'm coming along here and I'm applying a bit more pressure than I have in the other points. Basically, because I'm trying to get around the sides of the bone and kind of let my finger flatten out here and kind of affect a broader area. So on this side, this particular area around this epicondyle where it starts to flare out is one of the very most strongest points in the body for immune system building, which is very, very critical for the work that we're doing. As an acupuncturist in my office, I often use an herb called moxa that's a heated herb that I run along and I hold a distance from this area to try to build this system up. But just massaging it, just going over it like this can make a huge difference in the body. And it doesn't matter which direction you're working in. It just is stimulating these areas to flow and to move. Because optimally what we're looking for in our medicine is a homeostasis in the body, a free flowing of energy or chi. Now at the bottom end of the shin bone, or the tibialis, is right here. This bone that creates the ankle bone is created from a bone called the fibula. And on the sides of this bone are some of the biggest points for blood building. So when you're working this C, you can broaden it out and come into this area and just work this whole area. And it actually feels really good. I don't know how it's feeling to you.
It does feel good.
Yeah. So do you want to try doing that on yourself now? And you can sort
Should I
of
do it like this?
just relax your arm and just come up like this.
Okay.
Can you do that? Because obviously, and the other way that you can do it that's really effective is you can cross your legs and do it. So that's what I would recommend, is just, and you can relax this down. You don't have to see it to know that you're feeling those areas. This is something you can do while you're watching TV. This is something you can do, at any point when you're, visiting with people. They don't have to know what you're doing. You just need to know that this is something that's going to help you and strengthen your overall system. So how does that feel?
Feels good.
Yeah, and you'll find that there's some areas that are quite tender, and the more that you massage them, the less the tenderness will be, and the more your body will start to relax with those points. So that's something that I really, really advocate people doing on a regular basis. Now, I'm going to have you lay down for this last little moment. So essentially, again, you bring in a caregiver or a partner, or even a lot of times I recommend this to teach to your children, because they all want to be a participant in helping to make mommy or daddy feel better. And this is something that with their little brief attention spans, they can kind of do this and think that they've done something real special for you. So laying down on the couch, laying down on your bed, having somebody come in and do this on you can be really relaxing. And really, again, because I'm able to move in this direction going down, I'm bringing that energy down. And then I just want to close with these points. In the bottom of the foot, if you look at Natalie's foot, this is like heart-shaped. And right in the point of this heart is a point called kidney 1, which is sort of the pilot light for the whole system. And a nice way to close, if you can, is to take one finger and put it in that little apex of the heart, and put another one in that little fleshy area between the two toes that I showed you earlier, and just to hold those and ask the person that you're working on, be it Natalie, to breathe and just relax. Now, in terms of how long to hold these points, it just depends upon how long you can sustain it based on your physical conditioning. If it's not easy for you to do, it's best to get someone to do it. Let them do it for 5 or 10 minutes. Let them do it for 3 minutes. It doesn't really matter. It's more getting the body to relax and flow really well.